Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses us lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Big events are occurring daily. Told you guys that this battle is a spiritual one. And as you can see, the spirit moving right now. What a lot of people do not understand is that many of the same tactics that they've used to destroy our people, many of the same things they've been able to do, are not going to work anymore. The same things that they've done to, get people in line and things like that, they might get them back in line, but the damage has already been done. The age of enlightenment is here. The age of Aquarius is here. And, what you're seeing right now is, people, Sister Pat was talking about, and she made some great points in her video, talking about this is not going to work out the way that the Gentiles thought it was going to work out. Trying to ostracize and crucify, Kyrie, is not going to work out the way that they had hoped and planned and the way that it always works out for them. And this goes for, Gentiles in general. Many of the same tactics you've used in many different parts of your lives, part in society, is not going to continue to work because we have served our punishment. All you got to do is look at the end of 2019, was when the plague hit. And then when our new year started in March of 2020 was when society shut down. If you can just look at these events, you think it's just coincidence that, if we're ending our punishment and all of a sudden plagues have, come all over the earth, the shutdown of society. The Most High is the one that's bringing out this information right now. The Most High is the one that's bringing out, this information and making people start to take a look at this information. This is a last call. This is a last call before judgment. All of us are being used by the Most High. Use the Gentiles to be that whooping stick on Israel. He's using, Kyrie and his platform to, bring eyes to this situation. As you can see, how, they won't talk about Hebrews to Negroes as far as the movies and the DVDs. They won't, name it by name or anything like that. It's like there's power in words. And they don't even want to put that thought into people's minds that these Negroes might be Hebrews. We don't even want that to be a thought. So don't even bring that up. But the thing is this, you're going to see today how this all came about. There is a group of people that's responsible for the Israelites not knowing who they are today. The Greeks were the ones who started, this whole notion of stealing or not allowing the Israelites to proclaim who they were. This is something that is talked about in Second Maccabees, chapter 6. And we're going to get into that today in one of my older Bibles. But in Second Maccabees chapter 6, it lets you know that we were not allowed to call ourselves, by our traditional names. We're not allowed to call ourselves Hebrews, Israelites, anything like that. So, pretty much once they didn't allow us to be called who we were, then all of a sudden it was allowed for others to assume our identities. And this is why it talks about in Hosea, we are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge is many things, but a big part of this lack of knowledge is the fact that we don't know who we are, and we weren't supposed to know until the end. If you go to Baruch 2:30, it says we're going to wake up in the lands of our captivities. So we were going to be enslaved. Might not be the same enslavement as it was before the 1850s, but we're still enslaved nonetheless, as you can see when anyone tries to have their own opinion about anything. You see real quick that you're not allowed to. You see real quick that you're not allowed to have your own opinion. We're not as free as we thought we were. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to get into this history. And see, this is why, the book of Maccabees and these apocryphal books were taken out of the Bible. Because they don't want the world to know that the Greeks were the ones who started this whole notion of not allowing the Israelites to claim who they were. Then it just went down with the Romans, and then it continued in the revived Roman Empire. You think it's a coincidence that we don't have a history, that we don't have a name? Our names are always changing. Right? Afro-Americans, African Americans, colored, Negro. Why is it that we always have, our identification, our identities is always changing? Because this is all something that started all the way back to the time of the Greeks. See, it wasn't a 400 years of silence, as they love to say, between the supposed Old Testament and the New Testament. Trust me, the Gentiles were getting busy. They were doing plenty of horrible things during those 400 years. It's a 400 years that they didn't want you to know about the things that they were doing to the Israelites. You see, what you're seeing today and this awakening was something that got its start by the Greeks. The Greeks were pretty much the reason that the Israelites don't know who they are today. But see, in society, they want to hold the Greeks up to such high standards that they are the epitome of civilization. But they've been the ones that have been, they pretty much began the destruction of the Most High's chosen people. And the Greeks and the Romans and the revived Roman Empire have just continued that all the way till today. So this explains why here at the end, in 2022, the Israelites don't know who they are. And this is all part of the prophecy. See, these are the end day prophecies about us awakening in the lands of our captivities in Baruch 2:30. How we were going to lose all of our, knowledge of who we are, our traditions. All that was going to be lost. And that the Most High was going to have to give that back to us here at the end. And see, this is what's happening right now. This is why many of the prophecies that, they keep talking to you about aren't coming to pass. Because those weren't the prophecies that the Bible was referring to. Did you hear yesterday? Oh my goodness. It was that North Korea had 180 planes in the air. And South Korea had 200 and some planes in the air. And, North Korea shot off a missile. And man, they're going to have more war games and more drills. But did anything really happen? No. Like I said, it's all about fear. It's all about trying to make it seem like that's all prophecy. But the prophecies of the Bible is talking about the renewal and the revival of the Most High's chosen people. Let's get into it. This is chapter 6 of Second Maccabees, one of the books hidden, again, by your churches. And this is an older one, early 1800s, so therefore it's going to have like a little breakdown, a little synopsis, a little summary here of what the chapter is about. So, right from jump, the Jews are compelled to leave the law of God. Yes, the Greeks, compelled, forced the Israelites to not follow the Most High. And they've been doing this ever since. The temple is defiled, cruelty upon the people and the women. Okay? An exhortation to bear affliction by the example of the valiant courage of Eleazar, who was cruelly tortured. See, this is what the Greeks were doing. They don't want you to know about this. These are the tactics that they used to not allow you to be who you were. So then later on, someone else could assume your identity. And certain other people will have that identity and they'll have that, that opportunity to be you all the way until the end, until the time of the awakening. So we're a little bit right here. Not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of God. See, I thought the Greeks wrote they translated the Bible, so therefore they're the ones who are, they're the ones who have the authority to tell you what the Bible means. But they didn't tell you what they were doing to the real people, did they? How could you be destroying the real people, but then and compelling them to not follow the Most High, but then somehow you're an authority to tell the world what the Bible really says? Can't have it both ways. Can't be destroying the Most High's chosen people and then act like you're somehow godly and if you're going to lead the world and telling them what the Bible really says. So in verse 2, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem, and to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympius. See, as we got all these names of these places now, okay, with these Greek names. And that in Gerizim, of Jupiter, the defender of strangers, as they did desire, that dwelt in the place. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. So see, the Greeks came in here and they're just tearing up the place, defiling the temple. And the ones who actually, the owners of the temple were like, hey, what's going on here? So how are they going to fix this situation? Let's see. Let's see here. Let's go to 5. The altar also was filled with profane things, which the law forbiddeth. Verse 6. This is huge. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days, or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So there you go. Right there is where it started with you can't even call yourself a Jew. You can't even call yourself an Israelite. So then we started changing our names, started taking on, their names, started taking on their customs. So just when you hear people saying certain Greek names, doesn't mean they were all Greek people. There are plenty of Israelites who had Greek names as well. But you get that mental block where you think you hear Israelites, you hear Greek names and you think automatically so-called white people. But that's not the case whatsoever. So this is huge. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. Yeah, you're not the Israelites. You are not an Israelite. Who do you think you are? You're not. You're who we say you are. And that's what's going on all the way till today. Now that the Most High is awakening his people again, and they're trying to, get their identity back, now you have society attacking them. But see, this is something that's been going on for a very long time. But the vast majority of the world is oblivious to this fact. That the Greeks, they've done this. Romans, hey, what is it? What does a Catholic mean? What does the word Catholic mean? Universal. We're all the same. We're all equal. So they don't want you calling yourselves Israelites or Jews. They want you to call yourself whatever they tell you. You're an American. You're Mexican. You're Brazilian. You're Guatemalan. You're a Spaniard. You're the Greek freak. You're French. This is how they've taken away our true identity and given us new ones. Now we call ourselves by proverbs, bywords. And it has not changed. And now at the end is when the Most High is now starting to, awaken his people. And now you're starting to see, this is why this is all backfiring. Because, they attacked Kyrie so much, and now people are looking for the movie. Like, hey, hold on, what is going on? Let me check this out for myself. Let me check this out, this movie out or this book out for myself. And that's going to open up a whole can of worms for the nations. That's what they have not wanted, is anyone to even look at the information. Because once you start to look, the truth is undefeated. People are going to have a lot of explaining to do. You're going to be a lot of upset Gentiles. That's talked about in the Old Testament pseudepigrapha. I want to say in like the apocalypse of Elijah. How, a lot of Gentiles are like, when they realize the truth, they're going to be like pissed, upset at Satan and his minions. They're going to be like, you turned us against the Most High. You made us enemies of the Most High because of what they've done to the Most High's chosen people. That they got turned into enemies of the Most High because they treated the Most High's chosen people so horribly. And had they had the opportunity to get knowledge and understanding, maybe they wouldn't have been so hard on the Most High's chosen people. Maybe they would have blessed Israel like they should have been, as opposed to cursing Israel like they've done. So let's continue. I'm going to have to go from another page here. Okay? Verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. So this forcing them to follow the ways of the heathen. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen, by suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. So you're going to eat this pork. You're going to follow our ways. You're going to, you're going to give homage to our gods, or you're going to be put to death. This is how we lost all knowledge and understanding of who we are. This is how we got into, following the ways of the heathen. Started with the Greeks and has been continuing on ever since. They came over here to the Americas and did the same thing. Made you learn that Spanish, right? Made you change your names. Made you worship in the Catholic Church. Exactly the same thing. You're not allowed to call yourselves, what your original names, what you called yourself. They took away all of those, all of that information. They did it in, Asian countries. They did it in the European countries. This is a worldwide takedown. Wasn't just in the so-called Middle East, because the tactics have been used everywhere. And then as soon as they take your identity and make you absorb you into their society, then someone else can come in and and take over your original place. And they knew eventually the Most High was going to awaken us here at the end, and that's what they're fighting against right now. Because at the end of our punishment, that's when everything's going to switch, and the Most High is switching everything. Those old tactics that used to work aren't going to work anymore. The Most High is going to get His word out. And that's exactly what He's doing. And we know that plenty of people are now searching, because you know what? They've had their religions destroyed for the last few years. Their religions have been exposed. Their pastors, their priests have been exposed. They're just lying to the people, not teaching them anything. People's, confidence in society is falling apart as well, because they're seeing that it doesn't matter who you vote in. Many of the same, the same issues are still here, no matter who's in office. Who's really for the people? Who's really for corporations? You see what I'm saying? And people are now starting to question, because they thought, before, you had groups that were for the people, but they were for the Gentile people. No one's been for the Israelites. But, you guys were reaping benefits before. So you kept quiet. But now that you're not getting those benefits as much anymore, now you see there's a problem. So you guys thought that because you don't care about slavery and you don't care what's happened to our people, that God doesn't care. Maybe your white Jesus doesn't care, but the Most High power of the Israelites does care. He cares about us, cares about our children, cares what's happened to them, cares what you've done to them, cares that you have taken everything from them and given it to yourselves and left us with absolutely nothing. So like I said, just because you don't care and you think that you don't have to pay for anything, it doesn't matter. You're not the Most High. And as you can see with society and how things are going, you can see that your synopsis and breakdown of Scripture is woefully inept. Israelite lives matter. And you got pictures of what the Israelites looked like before you whitewashed everything. Just like if you want to go back and take a look at, the Russian icons books. And we're gonna take a look at some pictures right now, just to prove who was already the originators in many of these different parts of the world. And you guys will go around and, hey, you can't call yourselves these things anymore. You're going to call yourselves what we tell you to. You're going to call yourselves, what we, you're going to start to assimilate to our society. It's illegal for you to call yourself an Israelite anymore. And if you do it, or if we catch you trying to do Sabbath, or we catch you trying to actually follow your ways, we're going to kill you. That's what the Gentiles have done. And you don't think the Most High is going to make you pay for that? Because you are the reason, your tactics and your actions help to separate the Most High from their power even more. This right here from the Atlantis, the antediluvian world, showing you the statues that were already in these certain areas. In Palenque, in Chichen Itza, the Olmecs, letting you know who were the originators on these lands. But see, when you came over here 1492, and you guys started taking things over in the 1500s, you started to force these, our people to assimilate into your culture, and then they forgot who they were. Desiree Charnay, now engaged in exploring those monuments, has published in the North American Review, okay, for December 1880, photographs of a number of idols exhumed at San Juan de Teotihuacan, from which I select the following strikingly negroid faces. Negroid faces from their idols right there, okay? Because we were already here. It says, besides the sculptures of long bearded men seen by the explorer at Chichen Itza, there were tall figures of people with small heads, thick lips, and curly short hair, or wool, regarded as Negroes. We always see them as standard or parasol bearers, but never engage in actual warfare. All right, so we got that. Going ahead and going on down there. You can see the head right there. The Negro heads in Veracruz, the Olmecs. It says the following cut is from the court of the palace of Palenque, figured by Stevens. The face is strongly Ethiopian. The figure below presents a gigantic granite head found near the volcano of Tuxtla in the Mexican state of Veracruz, Caxapa. The features are unmistakably Negroid. And see, this is in the first edition of the book, but then you start getting into later editions, and all this information is taken out. Because Psalms 83 conglomerate doesn't want you to realize that you were forced to give up your heritage, and you were forced to assimilate worldwide. But now the Most High is bringing all this information out. And now he's making people start to go and look. Because many people are going to go and look, and that's going to be the start. And then they're going to start to research, and they're going to start to get into some more of these channels, and they're going to start getting exposed to even more information that will not be easily explained away. And what Sister Pat said was so true. There's going to be a whole lot of Gentiles that are going to be pissed off because they're going to realize that they've been lied to. A whole lot of them. Some hey, don't know. They might have an inkling that some of this information might be correct, but they don't realize like how much information there is out here, and how the other nations are just going out of their way to keep you from studying, to keep you from learning anything. They want to keep you dumb and blind and just following along, with society. They're gonna start to look. Oh, I'm gonna look for that book. Oh, I can't find. Oh, why is that book $3,000? Why is that book $2,000? Why are there no copies of this book? Why is it so hard to get this information? Then they're gonna start to realize, hey, something's going on here. It's amazing to watch the Most High, because He's the one that's bringing the eyes to this, to the subject matter. All we got to do is continue to follow the ways of the Most High, pray, put our faith in Him, and know that He's working for us. The angels are working for us. You can see that the Gentiles, like I said, their news and is all about the same things over and over again. Oh man, Russia. Whoa, they threatened one more time. They told America, this is your last warning. 30 warnings ago. This is still your last warning. 15 warnings ago. If you guys do this again, that's it. Okay, one more time. All right, man. If you do it again, that's it. And that's what we keep hearing every single day. Every single day. But you don't hear anything about trying to debunk this information, though. You don't hear them trying to debunk this information because they can't. So they're forced to kind of just rehash that news all the time and try to instill fear because they cannot debunk the information. And the Most High confirmed, this information in the sky the other day. We did a live, and you're going to see this face in the sky. If you want to see the live that we did, we did a live, and then afterwards we did a video because you can see this face clearly behind me when I was doing a live. But this is showing you what the original people look like here. See, when they're talking in history channels, they skip to the Mayans and show you pictures of people that are there today. But they don't rarely ever do they talk about the Olmecs being the original people that were here. They don't want to start with the Olmecs because hey, you start looking at this face, you'd be like, hey, hold on. It kind of looks like a Negro here. So they just skip over that. Okay, we'll just talk about the Mayans or the Aztecs. And it would have shown the pictures that we want to show them. So they're real slick with it, you know what I'm saying? So, you just take away their identity, give it to somebody else. They can just be who we tell them they are. We're going to keep, Negroes, call them whatever we want, and they're just going to take it. And we did because we were going through our punishment. But now the times are changing. So you can take a look right here. Most I just confirming, look at that face to the left. You see the lips right there. You see the nose right here. You see those piercing eyes right there. It's that Olmec head right there. No. Not very happy either. Because they've been watching all the things you've been doing to the Most High's chosen people. Didn't have to take it this far. And now we're at the end, and you're fighting tooth and nail to stay in power. But when the Most High says that your time is done, your time is done. That's it. But if you look for the video that has a thumbnail of the Olmec head, it goes into this right here. You want to check that out. But the video right before that was the live, where you can see faces in the clouds. But see, this is a prime example of what they did. You got Teotihuacan on the right-hand side. We had, I'm sure, all of the bells and whistles right there. Place is set up, like a microchip. Imagine how beautiful it must have been when we were running things over there in Teotihuacan. But all they did was, okay, we don't know who built this. We don't know who was here, but we're just going to copy everything, though. And we're going to set it up over here in Europe and make it seem as if we were the ones that have always been in power here in St. Peter's Square. Assuming our identity, like always. As if they're the head, the spiritual head of the world, when that was actually our job. We're the kings and priests, and we were the ones that went around all over the world, teaching the world the truth. But then the Catholic Church assumed our role when we were going through our punishment, and they've gone around, acting as if they are the, spiritual head of the world. This is a prime example in one picture right here. You got pictures here of the Buddhas right here. Buddhas originally being so-called black people. But change that too. You guys aren't those people either. Nope. And you got to change the pictures and everything else. But like I said, but that's okay. Because the Most High is now exposing all of this. It's not just the Middle East. These are things that are all over the world. Here in the Shaolin temples, this is what's painted on their walls. So-called black people. Painted in the temples, in the Shaolin temples in Asia. With so-called black people painted on their walls. So another group of people just assuming the identity of another. All started with the Greeks. Continued by the Romans. Continued again by the revived Roman Empire. Taken all over the world, same tactics. Black Celts, an ancient African civilization in Ireland and in Britain. And we know it's not African, but that's what they want to. Everything black has to be from Africa. Everything's supposedly black because that's what they want to say. But great information. Very difficult book to find. The Black Celts, an ancient African civilization in Ireland. You can go back and look at that, those videos we've done on that as well. Talk about how they, erased history, rewrote history, wrote us out of it, and put themselves in it. Latinized it, anglicized it, changed the names, changed the pictures, and just wrote us right out of it as if we'd never been there before. Same tactics worldwide. And then you got today. I'm just sitting there listening, looking at these guys on these sports radio shows and, you know, talking about pretty much just condemning everything, that Kyrie has done. But then it came out today, I want to say with the Go Black to Africa channel, that Shaq actually played from Hebrews to Negroes in his and it was in his New Jersey theater, movie theater. So he actually had it playing in his New Jersey movie theater. Pretty crazy, isn't it? One man gets, destroyed for a tweet, or sharing this information, but one actually played it a couple years ago in his movie theater. We'll see if it's true, and we'll see how that plays out. But there was no big outcry then. But see, that just shows you because of the times that we are in. We are in. We are past our 400 years. We're still doing our 400 years, coming towards the end. But now now we're past that 400-year period. Now, the Most High is moving even more. You got your Barclays, running out there. You can just see that the night before. Oh, he should have been suspended, and then all of a sudden, he gets suspended the next day or whatever else. It's like you could already tell they had that already planned. All right, just trot Barkley out there, have him say it, so then we can say it was the black man's opinion. It was his idea. You can see that from a mile away. Nothing new at all. And many of these dudes will just say whatever. Oh, this is my script. Okay, they're just actors. This is what you want me to say, boss? Okay, that's what I'll say. Right, Steve? Right, Barkley? You know what I'm saying? You got Shaq, and it's like it's just funny sitting there listening. I'm like, hey, we'll see. You guys have paid him. I was surprised, not really, with Amar Stoudemire going out there and saying the things he was saying as well. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me, man. I said this is the world we live in. This is the world that we live in. Just like I talked about in the Shepherd of Hermas. This is his world. I said this is the Gentiles' world. He has his laws. And if you got to follow his laws, and if you don't, that's when he can kick you out. And he has the right to do so. We talked about that in the Shepherd of Hermas. Go back to the last couple of videos, check them out. I said this information, and they had that book too, the Lost Scriptures book, the New Testament scriptures that were not ordained. See, now you're starting to see why these things are not ordained, why they didn't approve them, why they weren't canonized, because it exposes them. They didn't want you to realize that the Greeks were the ones who took away our identity, because the Greeks have been portrayed, in such a high regard. But they were the ones who were destroying the Most High's chosen people. And they're still doing it today. They're just doing it under the names of the Romans and the revived Roman Empire. So, we got people getting their feelings hurt, getting upset, but it's okay. You got your Stevens there, to protect you. But that's okay. They made their bed. Now they're going to lie in it as well. This is something, like I said, this is huge. I said they put the truth in movies. If you remember this from the War of the Planet of the Apes. Remember that? Okay? You remember like the big swole ape, the one that was with the men, and then Winter, the one that turned on his people and got, Caesar's family killed. They got like tattooed or dyed or cut into their skin. They didn't call them apes anymore. They called them donkeys. See, they weren't even allowed to be called by their original names anymore. They had to assume a different identity, calling them donkeys, pretty much calling them an ass. They're an ass for turning their backs on their own people and going with the other nations. So we got a lot of donkeys right now who are getting a lot of airtime and going out there and running their mouths every day. But that's okay because the Most High is exposing you. This is last call. And you can see who the Most High is dealing with and who he's not. So like I said, didn't even allow these. They said they called them donkeys. They were not allowed to call themselves apes anymore. Now you got like today, hey, you're an African American, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm African American. I'm color. I'm not, because they're not going to be. They don't want to be associated with true identity. But I'm sure that the other nations don't want to. They don't want that slapped in their face every day. That that these people are Israelites and that the Most High loves them and that the Most High is going to redeem them. So therefore, you can't call yourself that. Around me, you're a donkey. You're an ass. Okay, boss. I'm a donkey. Whatever you say, boss. Just keep them checks rolling in. Okay, boss. I'm a donkey. I'm an ass. Whatever you say. Where's my script? What do I have to say today? Huge. So they put it right there, even in the movie. Because they know, like I said, but they say, I love that part where they say, apes together strong. Hebrews together strong. And they don't want that. That's why it's always been about separation, separating us, making us fight, making us hate each other, fighting all the time, not learning anything, not reading, ostracizing with someone from trying to learn, trying to find your history. There's something wrong with you. Come over here and be a donkey with us. Come over here and be an ass with us. But see, they switch that around and make it seem as if we're the ones that are wrong. We're wrong. We're wrong for reading. We're wrong for searching, right? But you never say anything about the ones who've been hiding the information. And you saw what they did, how they took care of the donkeys in the movie. You saw how they took care of the donkey in the movie. What Caesar and his crew did. So you start looking at these pictures again that are on the walls in these temples, in these pyramids. This one right here from Uxmal, how they portrayed the dwarf of Uxmal and the people. But they're like, oh no, man, hey, give them a new identity and change up the ones that are here. Get don't let them come in here and see these pictures. Don't let them see this information. They're Mexicans now. They're Guatemalans now. And we'll say, that these other ones have been here the whole time. But it wasn't them. See? I don't know how you get around this. Murals and mysteries of the Maya. What they got on the walls for the Mayans. Look a little different than the Mayans you guys try to show us today. But this all goes back again to the tactics of the Greeks, tactics of the Romans. Spaniards did the same thing and came over here because they're all the same. They're all Greeks and Romans. On their pictures, on their walls, in their in their pyramids, how they portray them, the people. But get this out of here too. This isn't you. This stuff isn't yours. Try to buy this book. It's like one book for sale. It's got like all the different information. It was like $56,000, $57,000. The book has all the pictures in it. But who started all this? Who started hiding all this? Again, the Greeks. Second Maccabees, chapter 6. And what they do? Hid those books as well. I got this email earlier today. I cut the name off, but it was an awesome email because, like I said, they always want to say it's the black Hebrew Israelites. We are a light to the entire world. We are not a light just to so-called black people. There are plenty of people of all walks of life that are looking for the truth. And that's what the Most High is using our people for, to be a light to anyone that wants to be enlightened and it is being called by the Most High. It's not like you have a whole lot of alternatives, because you can tell, like many other people, these churches ain't telling you guys the truth. And then it's like, if you want the truth, where do you go? See, that's why you pray to the Most High, and He will lead you to where you need to be. But this was a great email, and I wanted to share it with you. Thank you for sending this to me. I appreciate you. It says, Big Judah, thank you so much for all your information. I was born and raised a white Irish Catholic dude, then Christian. Now I don't know what I am. You opened my eyes to so much and the truth. I read the Bible and other things in search of the truth. I've watched a ton of videos, and thank you for opening my eyes. Brother, this is not me. This is the Most High. This is amazing to see. And like I said, we all went through this. We all got to this point where it says, now I don't know what I am. We all got to that point where I'm like, I don't know what the hell I am. I'm not a Christian. I'm not this, and I'm an American. I mean, I'm not American. What, because you don't know, because you've been lied to about so much. And see, this is how you tell who's who at the end. Who is being a beacon of light to the world? See, it doesn't matter if we say, well, we're this people and those other people. That doesn't matter. Who's doing the will of the Father? Who's being a light and leading all walks of life that want the truth to the Father? That should answer your question as to who is who and who is being used. No need to argue. We just look at the information and look at the results. Just look at the results and look at how the Most High is using His people at this time. I thought this was awesome. Again, Big Judah, thank you so much for all your information. I was born and raised a white Irish Catholic dude, then Christian. Now I don't know what I am. You opened my eyes to so much and the truth. I read the Bible and the other things in search of the truth. I've watched a ton of videos, and thank you for opening my eyes. And the thing is, this information, it isn't just me. This is our nation. We have worked together to get this information. We have worked together to do this. I could not do this without you. So this has been, like I said, now everyone who's been helping, everyone that has been supporting. I said, these are the fruits of our labor that we've done together. And it's a beautiful thing. So trust me, there are plenty of other nations that are here watching these videos as well. And we have love for anyone that wants the truth. And ultimately, it's what your relationship with the Most High. He's giving you opportunity to hear the truth. And He's giving you opportunity to respond to the truth. And then that's between you and the Most High. I'm not here to condemn anyone. So that's the whole thing. That's why they want to make it seem like it's the black Hebrew Israelites, like we're somehow, we only deal with black people and screw everybody else. And I said, but that's all part of their tactics. All part of their tactics. But hey, like I said, you look to see, who's doing what, who's hiding what, and then you pray about it and you see where the Most High leads you. Real quick, from the Old Testament pseudepigrapha, another book that was hidden. I just talked about this the other day, from the Odes of Solomon. But I want you to understand that when make a covenant with the churches, with the priesthood of Mahan, that you do this right here. It says, they invite me, is 12 right here. Well, we'll start at 11. And they imitate the beloved and his bride. And they came and they caused the world to err and corrupt it, which is exactly what's been going on with Jews and Gentiles alike. Okay? And they invite many to the wedding feast. You guys are all welcome, John 3:16, and allow them to drink the wine of their intoxication. Just say the sinner's prayer and you're all good. You're going to get raptured away. You're all good. Don't read that Bible. We'll read it for you. We'll break it down for you. You don't need to do anything. We got it all for you. We got the breakdowns. Okay? It says, so they cause them to vomit up their wisdom and their knowledge and make themselves senseless. And that's exactly what this world has done. They don't go out of their way to prove information, prove what they're hearing, prove what they're being told. They just vomit up their wisdom and knowledge, and they're senseless. Well, they said this is what was in the books. They said this is what's in the videos, but I'm not going to look at it for myself. I'm just going to listen to what they said, and if that's what they said was in it, then that's it. But I'm not going to look for it myself. That's too much effort. That's too much work. I got college football to watch. I got NBA to watch. I got NFL to watch. I got a fantasy league. I'm busy with all that. I got my fantasy league for football. Got my fantasy league for for basketball. It's the World Series, and I don't got time to be studying that kind of stuff. So if they told me that, then hey, he's guilty. Okay. But that's all what happens when you make a covenant. So they cause them to vomit up their wisdom and their knowledge and make them senseless. Then they abandon them, and so they stumble about like mad and corrupted men. You've been abandoned by your demons, but now you just walk around and you just stumble about like mad and corrupted men and women. And there's much more you can read the rest of it on your own. Okay? But see, this is what happens though. See, we're not like the other groups, I says, the Israelites, I said, hey, even though we might not all agree, but they're well versed in what they know, and they can prove what they say. And you don't get that from the Christian church. You don't get that from the Catholic church. You don't get that from any of these denominations, and you don't get that from the priesthood of Mahan. So when you hit a Christian with too many facts that they can't dispute, that's what they give you that face right there. We've all seen that. Start hitting them with the Greeks were the ones that started all this. The Greeks were the ones that stole, didn't allow us to be who we were, and so what do they do? They know it, so that's why they hid the books. And they were just praying, hoping and praying that you'd never see it. But at the end, the Most High is going to give us our knowledge back. So that's all you're going to get as a response. And that's why now the Gentiles are like this. It says it all over the scriptures. They're going to, come to the Most High and say their fathers have inherited lies. Wisdom chapter 5. These are the ones. These are the people. Because they've gone out. They're not going to know who the people are because the Greeks were the ones who hid our identity. The Romans and the revival Roman Empire were the ones who continued with it. Let's get that real quick. Where's this all in chapter 5? Let's see here. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Yep, no account, because, we're nobodies. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. They're going to be amazed. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of God? and his lot is among the saints. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. That's because the Greeks did not allow us to assume our identity. The whole world has been duped into believing things that are not true. And then when the Most High restores his people, you're going to be shocked. But when you didn't realize that the Greeks were the ones who, forced us to not follow, couldn't call ourselves Israelites, couldn't call ourselves Jews, couldn't practice our Sabbath day, couldn't practice any of these things. We had to be pretty much absorbed into all these different groups of people so that then others would assume our identities. I said that at the end, it's going to be a shock. And that's where we're at now with prophecy. We're at that end, and now people are about to be shocked. This is why the Most High is using many people that have a huge platform in order for them to have eyes on this information, start to research, and then they're going to be shocked at what they find. Beautiful times we're living in, family. Beautiful times we are living in. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.